Bigger question. Okay, even a more clearer question. Can we really do something about the thoughts? Are our thoughts, the fact that a thought has arisen, that it is arising, or in this moment it will arise, is it in our control? Yes or no? Are you all convinced? I want everybody to be convinced, otherwise we'll debate this. Do you have control over when a thought will arise? No. What kind of thought will arise? No. No control. Yeah? How? That's what I wanted to know. Let's look at this clearly, whether we do or not. So that is out of the picture first. How do we have control over thinking? What is a thought? Let's get into the understanding of what is this thought. What happens?
I think at certain times thoughts do spring up, but you can actually control what you want to think. Like if you want to think something pleasant or something unpleasant, and that changes the way you behave and how
Correct.
you feel.
What you're telling me is thought springs up,
Yes.
which is not in your control. Whether you engage with it or not is in your control. Whether you pay attention to it or not is in your control.
Yes.
The thought per se is not in your control. What you do with it, yes, it is in your control. But the fact that it has sprung up, you are meditating and these thoughts which are unpleasant come up. That they will come up. At which point in meditation? Not in your control. Right? Clearly they seem to be automatic, autopilot happenings. Automatic happenings coming from somewhere. Some subconscious process which is not conscious for you. Right? Now, where do you have some ability to intervene? When it comes up. Often it is so quiet. And like I said, like a whisper in the mind behind, it is, you're doing your thing, you're bathing, it's going on. You're eating, it's going on. You're reading, it's going on. Right? Where do you have a place to intervene? First, only if you pay attention that this thought has come. So first the recognition. This thought has arisen. Second, what do I want to do with it? Do I want to engage or not? Of course, it's not so clear a process. I understand it's a very subtle subconscious process. Our work in mindfulness is making this subconscious process conscious. This is what we are trying to do. Because this is happening and without realizing we are even believing. We are invested, we are believing, we are led on without even a conscious recognition of this has arisen and there is a choice here. Almost as if there is no choice here. That's how we at the moment are wired. And I keep saying wired because it's not that we all know very well how to choose, but we choose not to choose. It's not like that. We don't know how to choose. We are wired in a certain way, right? And the wiring is so carefully seeing what is out of our control. The thought arising is out of our control. Right now, even engagement with it seems out of our control. Because it's so subconscious that we don't know we are engaging with it. Wise attention is this ability to recognize that a thought has arisen and the ability to recognize that there is a choice here and to build the resilience over a period of time to engage or not, to make the ability to take this choice more in charge. Now, for now, even attention is not fully in our control. We try to pay attention in meditation, we lose attention. We try to pay attention, we lose attention. So right now, even attention is not in our control. But at least that's one area we seem to have some possibility to effect. Otherwise, we don't have even a possibility to effect. Like a thought springing up, we cannot effect. Right? A situation occurring, do we have control? Somebody says something, somebody does something, some environment behaves in a particular fashion, something happens in the government, socio-politically, personally, no control. right? So recognizing what is going on. Okay. Attention is very closely linked to what is going on with the control factor. Firstly, the recognition that so many things are out of our control, including which thought will come up, when it will come up, how it will make us feel, which emotion will come up, is all, the whole range is out of our control. What is possibly in our control is how we are paying attention to this, how we are engaging with this that has arisen, right? Now, what do we keep trying to do when we keep thinking, actually? When we keep trying to think, especially the repetitive thoughts, what do we keep trying to do? What is our attempt?
To find a solution.
Find answers.
Yeah, find answers.
Find answers to control a situation.
Yes.
Also, the tendency to think like this is an attempt to control that which is fundamentally out of control. Right? So the whole thinking is nothing but, I will try and control this so that, to what end? I will control this to what end? What will happen once I keep thinking, and I keep thinking because I believe, I have thought 200 times, I have not got a solution yet, but I don't give up because somewhere I believe this thinking is going to only lead to a solution. Without enough feedback also I believe in it, okay? And I keep trying to control, why am I doing this? Why don't I take this feedback? But this seems out of my control. Even my thinking is out of my control. Forget things externally. I don't take this because of fear. The fundamental problem here is that if you relate to reality for what it is, you get afraid. You get afraid that you have no control. All thinking is survivally wired in order to give you an illusion of control. An illusion of control. Usually for me, the visualization of this is like there's a stream and it's flowing. And you are completely, you have no way of going against that stream or choosing a direction. It's in full force. I feel the stream of life is like that. While it's flowing, a piece of wood is also flowing. That's your thought. You hold on to the piece of wood and believe, now I'm in control. It seems like that to me. That's the visualization that comes to me. Truly, you and your thought and all your thinking are still all flowing into the stream. There is no real control there. Right? And it's very easy to recognize it experientially. See, you don't have to believe it because I say it. You just have to look at it. And you will see the sheer lack of control and how continuously, obsessively the mind tries to control. Control how you are, control how you will become, control what will become, control how people will think of you, how they'll judge you, how you will judge yourself. Like non-stop. This is going on. Trying to control essentially things that are out of our control. Now, is this not a heavy-duty waste of our mental resources in some sense? A spend of energy in areas which are absolutely, which will go as they have to go more or less. So if after thinking about it 2 or 3 times, solutions are clear, of course, do it. Nobody is saying don't think, nobody is saying don't plan. But this obsessive thinking and planning for what? Because we are afraid that if we don't try to control, we are faced with the reality that things are out of control, and that makes us feel very scared and very afraid. Right?
Scared and afraid of what?
Afraid of not being in control. It's fundamental afraid. If you see in the final, if you go through your thinking process, you will see the final fear is death or annihilation. The fear is I will not survive. It's survivally wired, right? If I try to control my entire environment, I have a higher chance of living. It has now come to a point where we are sitting in a room, we are fully covered, we have grills on our windows and locks on our doors, we have food on our table, but we can't stop it. Now we have to be better than the other guy, we have to have a promotion. It's just converted. The survival goals have converted. We are not struggling for physical survival, then we are just struggling for some other kind of survival in our world. So we have to realize what's going on. And when the Buddha says this is dukkha, he's saying recognize this. Like recognize what are you struggling with. Is it worth it? Do you want to invest this kind of mental energy for your life? It's not even a year that you'll lose. It's a life that goes like this. People at 70 are still thinking that. They are still thinking. They are still fixing. Right? My grandchild is going through this. My child is going through this. My daughter is not willing to get married. My grandchild is not willing to get married. Whatever it may be. Right? So we have to recognize the nature of it and question, do we really want to believe in this mind? Do we really want to believe and go into this kind of controlling spree? Wise attention is about recognizing that these things are out of our control. Primarily, even the thought coming up is out of our control. So, let me pay attention to what is happening. And then continuously let me pay attention to where I am right now. Only this is real. And everything else is this massive fear-induced attempt to control my surroundings, which are not helpful. When I make peace with this reality, finally, I am less afraid also. Because I anyway know we both, the thought and myself are both floating in the stream. Then there is better surrender. Otherwise, there is no surrender. You understand what I'm saying? It's tough. But see, it's very, very evident, very immediately evident. So the question is, mindfulness practice is changing this wiring by making everything conscious, by making this habit of controlling conscious. Right? What you cannot control, you cannot control. Then what you have to learn to do when you cannot control it? What do you have to learn to do? Accept it and watch it and stay with it. When you can't control, what is the next step?
The thoughts that happen in that situation keeps on going in our mind.
That's what I'm saying.
Keeps on going and going.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This thought is for what? The thought is trying to control an outcome. It is trying to control how it should be so that I can be happy. That's the idea, no? Finally. I am going to keep on thinking how to make something happen, which is not happening, which is not even in my control. How to make it happen so that I can be happy. Isn't it? Mindfulness is the practice of recognizing that the sheer pointlessness of it. Like, how pointless is this? It's the most pointless activity ever, but understanding pointlessness is only one part. Training the mind to be present is the biggest part. Because unless you train the mind to be present, it is not going to one fine day listen to you and give up thinking. That's not what's going to happen. Because you understand this today, you're not going to go home and stop thinking. But because you understand this today, you will feel convinced that I should do my practice so that at some point my mind stops this craziness. Because it's not worth it. Right? Only when I practice, slowly my mind learns not to keep controlling everything, learns to keep coming back. Only practice can do that, because only practice has brought us here. Every time you think also you're practicing thinking. So only when you unpractice that and practice something else, things can change. So the practice makes it different, not the understanding. But the understanding is important to be convinced about practicing. Otherwise you will not practice. That's the point.